Yeah, everything was fine.
Okay.
And then until I went back home,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, I was like loading for like 5 minutes and then.
Little girl.
Yes.
You.
And then you know what, bro? I actually have our cousin staying with us, right? You remember Chris?
Yep.
Udah besar, sekarang baru-baru ini juga terjadi lagi nih.
Oh iya.
Tadi awalnya tangannya kan kaku tuh. Lama-lama tangannya 3 kali saya sebut.
Tapi aku lihat rame banget, kayak ada ini acara apa.
Aku bilang enggak kok, aku udah tidur, ngapain nangis? Aku lagian enggak bukan tipe-tipe yang nangis-nangis terus. Dia bilang
Kali rumah itu dikontrakin, yang kontraknya itu meninggal. 会去拜拜的人，他们的想法有一些我不喜欢，就是他们想法就是。
Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Calvin and you're watching Light the Candles. Finally, we've reached our 10th episode. Where on every 10th episode, I'll be sharing my story. So this is a bonus episode. I'd like to say thank you to those who's been sticking around, especially those who's a fan of Light the Candles. Now the reason why I came up with Light the Candles was because ever since I was a kid, I've been going around asking people about their experiences, their encounter with the another world, right? So I thought might as well just film it and share it with you guys as well, so that way everybody can listen. I personally had a lot of encounter. I've seen, I've heard, I felt, and I was even physically hurt. So, believe it or not, it's up to you. To those of you who's new here, who has not subscribed to my channel yet, feel free to do so. And to those of you who's been sticking around, once again, thank you. I appreciate it. So, here's my story. Okay, ready? I had a lot of experiences, but I'm gonna share with you guys what happened this year. Somewhere around the month of May in Jakarta. So 2 years ago, I moved to Jakarta, Indonesia from Brunei. I was signed by an artist management company. And ever since, I was staying with my ex-manager in his house until September last year. And then I moved out after that. And ever since I moved out, I think I moved about 7 times. I've stayed at the west, the east, the north, the south, central Jakarta until March this year. At that time, I was staying at the south Jakarta. In March this year, I was supposed to go back to Brunei to visit my family. But because of COVID-19, I wasn't allowed to travel. I had to extend my stay until June, which I did. So because I knew I had to extend my stay, I said, might as well just go back to the west, you know, because I'm more familiar with the places in the west. Most of my friends are at the west. So one day, I went to the west to look for a boarding house, a new boarding house, planning to move, right? I saw this boarding house by a famous campus. I'm not gonna say the name of the campus. This boarding house is actually located by a famous street where they sell a lot of foods, easy access to everywhere. You have nearby malls, ATM machines everywhere. And this boarding house is actually by a corner. It has 3 floors, a big metal gate. That afternoon, I went inside. I did not see any caretaker. There were some guys hanging out. So I looked around, I went out. I saw a phone number by the gate, right? I called. A lady picked up. She said, hey, can you come back the next day? So which I did. I went back there the next day. She showed me around the rooms. Okay, I wasn't paying attention to the surrounding, but I was more excited about the rooms, right? So 3 floors. I picked a room. It was room number 26 on the first floor. I said, okay, I'm gonna pick this room. I'm gonna move in next month. Long story short, I moved in on April. So the first week of staying in that boarding house, I did not feel anything. I did not see anything. I did not hear anything. Everything was normal. Now, the rooms in that boarding house are kind of like facing each other. So you have like room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4. My room was room number 26. Right in front of my room was room number 25, right? And on every rooms, we have this classic flipped up window. I have this bad habit of mine where I tend to always look into people's room through the windows. Empty rooms or occupied room, I always do that. I don't know why I do that, but I do that. Whenever I go out, whenever I come back to the boarding house, I do that all the time, every day, without miss. One day, on May 28th, just like every other day, I did not feel anything. Everything was normal. I was out that day, so about 6 p.m., 6:15 p.m.-ish. I went back to the boarding house. On the way to my room on the first floor, I did the same thing, passing by those rooms, right? Looked inside people's window, looked inside people's room through the windows, and then I passed by room number 25, which was empty. I mean, we can tell which room was empty because empty rooms usually they don't have any floor mat and no shoes, no slippers, no laundries, right? So I passed by room number 25. I looked inside that room through the window. I saw a lady in white. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't scared. I was surprised to see somebody in there. It was very obvious. It was a lady in white. I wasn't scared because I knew that wasn't a ghost. It was obviously a human. Her movement was very human. She was wearing a white dress and she was doing her prayer. So her back was facing me. She was actually facing the other side. And I knew she was doing her prayer because of her movements, right? I was surprised. I ignored. I went into my room. Turned on the aircon, laid on my bed, played my phone. I wasn't thinking about it, right? So 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, I started to think, wait, who could that be? I don't think that's the caretaker because why would she pray in that room? She has a whole room downstairs at the ground floor. And I've been staying in that boarding house for so many weeks. I've never seen anybody pray in that room. So I was curious, right? I opened my curtain, trying to look. I can't see because it is close, about 2-3 feet apart, but I can't see because of the window. It's kind of facing down, so I had to go out. So I did. I went out of my room. I passed by the room. I looked inside. To my surprise, I did not see anybody inside. I wasn't scared. I said, okay, maybe that lady went out, right? I went back into my room. I think, wait, if somebody opened the door or closed the door, I will definitely hear the sound of the door because the door is basically just right in front of my window. How come I did not hear anything? I went back out from my room again and I tried to open the door. It was locked. That time, I felt thrilled. I was scared. I went into my room, I prayed. I did not tell anybody. Until today, I wasn't sure if that was a human or was it something else. But that actually happened. Believe it or not, it's up to you, but I know what I saw in that room number 25. Until today, that lady is still in my head. I'll see you in the next video.